Yo, guys, honestly, what's your opinion on Cold Island Sponge?
Are you kidding me?
No.
Listen, okay, at least you started with a good one this time that's not Clamble, because Sponge is OP, especially when he had his own solo.
You're not wrong.
When
Although I I can't tell if you're not wrong or not because I can't remember Sponge on Cold Island.
He goes,
Yeah, do 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 do.
Oh, right.
do, 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 do,
Do
do, do.
do do do. And he had his own solo at the very
Ah,
end, and
dude,
it was
that
broke.
reminds me. The
But then
best thing
afterwards,
about Sponge on Cold Island, especially in the outro, is that he surprisingly paired really well, and this is gonna sound really stupid, but he paired really well with Wubbox's ambience.
What box is
Yeah, because
ambient?
he would do the do 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 do, and then in the background you just hear the.
Do 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 do. Yeah, and then
Seth,
Talker happened.
here's the thing. Seth, I have to be really serious right now. I have something important to say.
What?
Okay, so I think we might have to redo the Plant Island video because we forgot to talk about Wallbox's ambient track and how it works in the song.
Oh,
You're right.
You're right.
We
Except
also
for
gotta talk about Epic Clamble.
oh yeah, Epic Clamble. No.
Anyway, the point is, Sponge is good on Cold Island and it was great in the outro, but also the outro doesn't exist anymore because the outro was like, bro, what if we did the Mammoth verse again?
No, it doesn't do the Mammoth verse
outro
again.
It does a verse where Mammoth plays, which is the entire song. So good point. But here's the thing: the new verse is just exactly what everyone's thinking. It's just nobody likes me.
Everyone.
Complete
The
unneeded.
point is, we're not talking about that yet. We're talking about how Sponge is OP in the song, except he's not OP, but he's good because he's not everyone else.
All right, but we talk about the best thing about Sponge now, or do we save it for Gold Island?
Save it
What
for
is-
Gold Island because that's his own thing.
Ah, you're right. All right.
Anyway, point is, okay, see, speaking of everything else, what are your guys' opinions on Mem? I mean Pango, I mean Quibble, I mean Selfies, I mean Rebel Box, I mean the castle.
All right, what was that last one you said?
The castle.
All right, we're not doing that one. What was the third one you said?
The
Rear
third one was
Box.
Quibble.
All right,
Uh,
yo,
No, the third, which was Quibble.
yeah, let's do Quibble then.
Quibble. Yo, okay. Here's the thing. Quibble, people be like, oh yeah, Quibble is just everything else on the island, and it is. But Quibble's like, the quality of like the tracks itself are actually top tier, but you don't notice it because the island be like not good noises.
Yeah.
Like you listen to the individual sound, and you're like, bro, what? How is this bad? And you're like, oh yeah, because it's everything else.
Honestly, Quibble is very like, it's interesting how good Quibble is perceived, even though when you think about it, it's a very, very basic track. It's just
almost
boom,
always basic.
ba-doom, ba, boom,
See,
ba-doo,
the thing-
ba-doo, ba-doom.
Hello. See, people, yeah, it's just everything because it is just everything, and it's the best everything on the island because it's Quibble, but by Quibble standards, it's not that good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The issue with Quibble on Cold is that it's the worst of the best in a way, even though it's not the worst of the best because there are worse
It's the
Quibbles.
opposite.
It's lower.
It's
Best
the
of the
best
worst.
of the worst.
Oh.
It's like Cold Island sounds are.
Oh no, it's the best of the worst in terms of Cold Island sounds, and then it's the worst of the best in terms of Quibble sounds.
That's true, but we're talking about Cold Island right now, so I don't want you to be talking about Quibble's other sounds. Anyways, that being said, what do you guys think of Quibble on Gold Island? I think it's pretty good.
Dude, you're so right. Nah, guys. All right, Quibble though. He's cool.
Yeah,
They're
this
cool.
is
Actually, he's cold.
Same thing.
no, he's not. He's air and water.
Dang it.
No, speaking of cold though, we gotta talk about the air and cold Pango.
Oh. You mean
Quibble again?
Quibble again?
Yeah, except for the fact that this time it's Pango.
That's the net.
And it does literally nothing in the song.
the
You,
best thing about the best thing about Pango is the fact that this is Pango's first island. So your introduction, so you get Plant Island, and then you get Cold Island, and then you're like, oh wow, there's a castanets monster, and it's just the same thing that everything else does, and it's pretty low. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not a castanet expert, so I do not know what the proper way to use a castanet is, but I assume Pango on Cold Island is not a good example.
it's not.
I love
But
when castanets are supposed to be this nice, complicated yet like beautiful percussion that is like super not what Pango is.
the issue with it is the fact that Pango is an instrument that is being used outside of the genre that it was invented for,
It's
and
true.
it
Well, that's the
makes it
entire.
awkward.
Well, that's true, but also it's the entire point of MSM is making things work that shouldn't work,
Yeah,
and
but the issue with a
Pango on
castanet is
Cold
the
Island
fact.
is an example of it not working out right. Like Pango on other islands, like maybe Continent, it's pretty good that, and like even though it's outside of it's like where it's like it's outside of where it belongs, but it still works well.
Hmm.
But Pango on Cold Island just doesn't do anything.
The issue, okay, honestly, Pango in MSM1 doesn't really do much because you can play literally any Pango track from MSM1 and no one will be able to tell you what island it's from. 9 times out
Nah,
of
you know
10.
what's great about Pango? Because you say how it's just not memorable on any island, but here's the thing: Pango be on Cold Island, it'd be like click 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 click, and then on Earth Island it goes click 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 click.
Dude, I can't
Pango is
believe
just not
you
great.
played me like that.
Yeah. Anyways, we're on a roll. First, we talked about Quibble, then we talked about Quibble, I mean Pango. So let's talk about Thumpies.
Thumpies.
Anyways, Thumpies is the one element on this island.
Yeah, I was about to say, my favorite part
Yeah.
about Thumpies is when they go bum,
But
bum.
dude, why does Thumpy suck?
I think
Because they're not
Thumpies,
confident enough with them.
Yeah, so they just
I
do what
think,
Mammoth.
yeah, see, with Cold Island, they wanted to separate Mammoth and Toejammer for some reason. Because, I mean, it makes sense because they're the perfect duet, but also it's like good to split it up and get variety. So they're like, so there's the question: what do we go with Mammoth? Because Mammoth works best in pairs with someone else, and they just chose Thumpies to be the new replacement. But it doesn't work as well as Toejammer because Toejammer like fills in the offbeats, but Mammoth doesn't have much offbeats anyways, so they just make him it just be Mammoth but slightly more complex.
Yeah.
I just don't understand like the decision at Big Blue Bubble to just be like, yes, let's make this timpani monster that could be the most
Well,
OP thing ever. Just do Mammoth.
the thing is, timpanis usually really work well when they just play a supporting rhythm along with a main melody. But the
Yeah.
issue with Mammoth is the fact that they're both way too bassy, and because Mammoth's a vocal, you always focus on vocals more than the instruments, unless the instrumentation is the main focus on a certain verse.
Well, that's true, but gonna go back to what Ryan said. Something to think about too that people don't really consider that much with Thumpies is the fact that since Thumpies is based on the actual game Thumpies, they had a lot of potential to literally be anything they want.
Right.
Because in that game, the Thumpy instrument could make any sound imaginable. You could tap it one time, it does a timpani. The other time, it does a weird glitching sound. The other time, it's a taiko drum. The other time, it's literally a goat screaming.
You
It
would
could be
know, you're
anything.
the
They
Thumpy
just went,
stan.
they just kind of went with the most basic one.
Yeah, because it was the first one that you said.
It was the first one I said because it's the first one when it comes to because Thumpies. But that being said, there's like only one timpani in the entire game because the entire point of the Thumpies game is just be super diverse with whatever random things they use.
I wouldn't know. I've never heard of Thumpies like the game. I've never heard a song from it, even though apparently they're all really top tier.
Yeah, that's fair, but it's not even about that. It's just about the fact that instrument wise, it could be the most wacky thing. Like it could literally be a cartoon sound effect monster because of the kind of sounds in Thumpies.
Hmm.
and that would have been really cool. But instead, we just got timpani, which is a really cool instrument too. But there are other monsters that probably could have done it better on other islands.
So, I guess just the main issue with Thumpies is that they're wasted opportunities of on top of wasted opportunities. They're
Yeah,
because they had the whole, ah, bro, they could be anything, but they're a Timpani. Oh wait, but Timpanis are awesome. Oh wait, it's just Mammoth.
pretty much.
Speaking of
Yes.
Mammoth,
Yeah, what about Mammoth?
What about
at least
Mammoth?
Mammoth has 2 tracks on the island. I think Thumpies also has 2 tracks actually. I may be wrong.
No,
No, some people only plays in the first part.
Oh, which one's the single element again then?
Mammoth.
Doesn't really do a good job of it. See, the thing
None of
with
the single elements on the island do a good job of being what
Mammoth
good they're supposed to.
carries.
Tweedle.
Oh yeah, Tweedle.
Yeah,
But
we'll
anyway,
talk about
Mammoth.
Tweedle eventually, but we gotta talk about my man Mammoth.
Mammoth is good in the original composition of the song when it's not before everything else was added in. But then once everything else is added in, Mammoth kind of becomes irrelevant. And that's hard because Mammoth was kind of meant to be the main thing you focus on. That's not Sponge.
All right, you want to know? We have to mention it at one point. I think we should get it right out of the way instantly, and it actually relates into what Ryan said anyway. I'm pretty sure one of the big reasons why Mammoth is not noticeable in the full song is because he lost a lot of his bass from Plant Island,
Oh, absolutely.
and it really makes it suffers because you deep notes that aren't bassy are just quiet, so he
Yeah.
just fades.
Yeah, what happened? Here's what happened with Mammoth. So on Unplanned Island, Mammoth and Toe Jammer were a happily married couple. But then, because Cold Island, it was Mammoth's homeland, and he prioritized his family over his loved ones. Even though that's usually the same thing, but that doesn't matter. The point is, Toe Jammer got a divorce, and then afterwards, uh, but when see ToeJammer got a divorce, but then afterwards Mammoth remarried Thumpies, and then he realized, wait, this is too much work for me. I gotta split up. So he split up. But Thumpies, unlike ToeJammer being a 3 element, is smart. So it was like, okay, fine. Since we're divorcing, we have to follow the law where you give me half of your stuff. So it just got half of Mammoth's base.
You know what? That's a
What happened with
perfectly
Mammoth? He just lost
acceptable
his base because
explanation.
they had to make room for Thumpies.
Yeah, too bad it took him way too long to get that bass back.
He never got his base back. What do you even mean?
What do you mean?
He got back on Air Island.
Air.
What do you mean way too long? That was literally the next island.
Yeah, that's way too long without a Mammoth bass because I miss Mammoth bass.
Yeah,
You know what
honestly,
other
I think
monster got?
yeah, bass guitar.
You know what other monster got butchered from plant to cold?
Ma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even need the transition.
Ugh.
Dee
Amazing.
The only thing I can say for Ma is that he duets with ToeJammer funnily. But
Yeah.
he duets with Toe Jammer, but Toe Jammer, we'll talk about Toe Jammer next.
yeah, alright, Ma. Ma is. How do you forget to compose one of the most intriguing monsters in the entire game?
I don't know what it was with BBB after Plant Island with making Ma the funny top tier that he was on Plant Island. They're just like, let us make Ma play like only a certain amount of bars at a time. Because with Cold Island, he only plays for like half a bar, and then it's like on Air Island, he just has these extreme pauses. Then on uh Gold Island, I forget what he does, but so he doesn't care. But yeah, Ma just kind of stopped being good after Plant Island.
What happened? Uh, Ma had a similar thing with Mammoth. Mammoth lost a lot of its bass, and Ma lost its like entire second voice, but not like it still has two voices. But instead of it just being two at once, they just made it one main one and one secondary one that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it lost its harmony and its like actual good reverb that it had on Plant Island.
It's just the same. It's just the one verse, just like saying the same thing instead of a second voice saying like the counter things, like so that it can harmonize with itself. Which is the thing that was amazing about Amazing Monster.
I don't really have a lot to say about Ma on Cold Island. It's a shame, really, though, because Ma on Plant Island was such a good one, and then Ma on Cold Island is like, nah, bro, I'm done. I retired.
Yeah, because there haven't really been uh, well, there haven't been many opportunities for Ma to do what it does on Plant Island. 'Cause Ma is just like super intense on there, and he's like the main part of the build up in the chorus. And then like there's never really been build ups that much. And he plays in the build up in this song, but like the build up is not really a build up.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just a
just
verse, wait for another verse.
The biggest shame with Ma is that unlike monsters like Toe Jammer and stuff that kind of were weak after Plant Island, Ma doesn't have any redemption islands. There's not a single
It
island.
came really close. It came really close with Party Island, but somehow they made an
No, no,
80
no.
beat
Hey, hey, hey.
work
We
song
gotta
not
save
with
it.
a sound. No, I'm just saying they came close with Party Island, but they lost it to the loop. More so lack of loop. But the point is, Ma sucks.
Alright, you said we talk about Toe Jammer left next, so let's talk about the other fallen angel.
I
oh
think this
boy.
is more than a fallen angel. I think this is like, oh no, the okay, here's what happened. The angel fell from the sky and it splattered onto the ground. He's like, oh wait, I'm made of water, so I'm okay. But then afterwards, Ma came in with a straw and drank him like that one animation. And
Yeah,
then
and he also got depression.
and ToeJammer is, in my opinion, easily the worst island. Like that, okay, outside of a certain individual, ToeJammer is my personal least favorite monster on the island. It's just my main thing. Okay, they fixed this issue in modern versions of the game because well, they fixed it, but also didn't fix it because the new version isn't good. Basically, on Cold Island nowadays, for those of you who don't know, if you the second you buy the island, it automatically comes with a Tweedle already placed on your island, which it's like a cool feature and it makes sense. But also, like, I don't think it's good. The point is, that's what they do nowadays. But before, for everyone else who's probably playing right now, what they were used to is this: you go to Cold Island, you buy a toe jammer, you wait 30 seconds, you place the toe jammer. Then
You just
you
hear.
buy a mammoth, wait a minute for it to hatch, and you hear do, 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 do for a minute and a half waiting for that mammoth. I find it funny, but also like okay, like in an ironic sense, it's funny, but outside of that, it really completely ruined the monster for me, and I just can't bring myself to enjoy its sound because it's pretty boring in the first place, and then it's just super repetitive and annoying.
One thing I can say about Toe Jammer on Cold is it's fun to compose for remixes because it's just two notes.
I think you mean easy to compose.
And fun because then you can do the thing like what they did in
Alright,
the orchestral remix.
does he at least play on key with the song?
I mean, yeah, that's the
Kind
point.
of.
Kind of?
He
Well,
plays in key, but he
that's
doesn't play on chords.
that's more than you can say for the next monster, Dandy
What
Doo.
next? Oh boy, I'm glad you put this man up next.
Dandy Doo.
What a perfect transition. I love Dandy Doo so much on this island that I want to strangle it.
Ryan,
What?
give us a brief rundown on why you don't like Dandy Doo on Gold Island.
It is a very not important thing at all because it only matters if you're an extreme music whiz like me. But the thing is, Dandy Doo, and I love listening to all the Cold Island covers because they get this wrong every single time. And I love listening to the first note of every single Cold Island cover, and my ears want to kill itself because the song Cold Island is in B major, so the main note you focus on is B, and then the one note that doesn't like to harmonize with B is F because that's not in the key. And so what if Dandy Do was like, bro, what if my very first note is an F and it doesn't it clashes completely with every chord and every note ever on the island? It's like, why would you do that? And there's a very easy fix for that, and it's just to put it 2 notes lower so it plays D sharps and E's, which fit the chord perfectly. But no, they gotta make it an F. And it's like, please don't ruin this beautiful monster by making it not work with the song's composition.
I'm
And
silently dying in my chair right now.
because here's the thing, it's not that big of a deal in the game because it's kind of shrouded out by all the other disgusting that's playing with the song. But like in composition factor wise, because I'm a cover man, it's the most asinine thing ever.
Oh,
And that's why I hate Dandy Do.
you got
Yeah.
anything to add about it?
Uh, I don't really care, but I see
Not
your point.
listen. If you don't like Dandy Do, all you have to do is get an epic Dandy Do, and you can block it out completely.
Oh yeah, and then I hear double the audio of Dandy Do. I love that.
If you don't want Dan to do, you don't have to worry because, like you said, Ryan, it's already covered up by certain monsters.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I don't have. See, I think the main reason that Dan to do, like you said, when it comes to covers, it doesn't work at all. But that's because people who are covering it don't know jack about music. But when it comes to like just in game, I think it works simply because it's kept as an intro monster.
Yeah, imagine if that thing was showing up in other verses.
Uh,
Like it works, and you're like, oh, that shouldn't be there. But it's like one of those things where it shouldn't be there, but it kind of works just because of the exact placement of it.
Alright. I remember a bed you told me once, a long time ago, that the best thing in MSM is when you can take two monsters in an island, and no matter where they play, if you put them together, they still sound decent.
That's true.
You can't do that with Dandy Doo on this island. If you put Dandy Doo up with freaking Talker's Nobody Likes Me verse, it's gonna sound like the worst thing in the world.
oh
There,
yeah.
if you put Talker's "Nobody Likes Me" verse with like a lot of things, it wouldn't sound that great.
Yeah, that was a bad example, but you know what I mean.
I
Dandy
get
Doo
what
can
you mean,
only work if it's in the opening, and that's a terrible
yeah,
sin in MSM.
yeah, yeah. That's why Dandu isn't like like no no offense to Dandu fans out there, but if when Seth makes a video about this, if you're expecting Dandu to be in the top three, it's really funny.
You're
uh,
real funny.
it'll be lucky if it makes dishonorable mention.
Listen, I don't think it's worth being in the bottom three or in dishonorable mentions, simply because it depends on what happens with the rest
Alright,
of the video.
here's the
Point is,
thing. I feel like it at least deserves a dishonorable mention since Ryan went on a 2 minute rant about it.
that's fair. Yeah, for me, I just think it's like I don't think it's worthy of the bottom three simply because it doesn't work at all. But also, that's only in like fan made content, and it kind of works when it comes to official content. But the main problem with it is the entire like non compatible with other versus thing, which is not a good idea in my opinion.
I wonder why. Cold Island is so weird. Actually, I'm gonna say this until when we talk about the whole song as a whole.
Okay.
So let's talk about the next monster. Let's talk about a monster that didn't get butchered from its transition from Plant Island to Cold Island. Let's talk about uh
He wasn't on
yeah,
Planet Island.
no, let's talk about Furcorn.
Okay,
Furcorn.
Furcorn is a major improvement. Planet Island Furcorn is good. This Island Furcorn is even better.
Yeah. I
Furcorn
like
got a melody before a certain monster came in.
I like
Furcorn
Furcorn on oh god, hold on. Sorry. I love Furcorn on Plant Island because of it's got like a raspy tone to it, but I much prefer Furcorn when it's actually trying to like timber itself.
Yeah, it's good diversity. It's like it's good to have diversity in monsters, and to be able to go between the two is a really good thing. And
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a big change from Planet Island, like pretty much everything from Planet Island, but it's definitely worth it because everything about Furcorn, it's like it's supposed to be the climax versus the song. That's besides the point. But it's supposed to be the climax of the song, and when it is, it's like it's Furcorn doing Entbrat's job, and that's really whack, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Burkhorn does his job before someone else took his job.
Yeah, the foreshadowing is mad in this video.
We'll talk about them when we talk about them. But
Yeah.
we're talking about
Alright.
Furcorn, and Furcorn's good. But you
Furcorn
know
is
who's
good.
better than Furcorn?
Who's better than Furcorn?
Octopus.
List, and there's literally no one good better than Furcorn on this list left.
Yo,
What do you
okay,
mean?
okay.
Let's talk about Kongo.
How?
How? Yeah, great ass question.
Here's
How?
Here's how. Because it's somehow Thumpy's, but worse.
Alright,
It's Thumpy's and Tango, but worse.
here's the thing about Kongo. I can say one thing for Kongo, and it's a huge thing that you can say for Kongo. It's a real drum. It's not a sample. If it's a
What
sample,
real
it's a
drum?
sample of someone who recorded a real drum. It's not synthetic.
Oh, it's
Yeah, and too bad it sucks.
Nah, I don't think it sucks. I like it when they use real instruments.
Yeah,
like it
but
when you
the
real
songs,
too.
its composition sucks.
Listen, it doesn't see. It's good when they. Okay, it's always preferable to use real instruments, but at the same time, it's not like I'd rather have a good composition than a good instrument used. Cause like, listen, if I got the choice of having either Bogart on Plant Island, but it's a synth, or like Punkleton on Plant Island, but with a real life violin, I want
Yeah, I
Bogart.
love it when Puckleton plays the violin.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't a good example, but the point is, who are we talking about again?
Kongo.
Congo.
You can't say anything about Congo because everything to be said about Congo was said about Pango, and
They're the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
I love Cold Island.
What drum is Kongo again? Because I know it's not a Congo drum.
It's just
I
like
don't know.
I'm pretty sure. Here's what they did: they looked up conga drum sound font. They got a VST for a conga drum, and like just like it probably wasn't even a conga specific. They just got a bunch of different Latin drums, and they just like picked and chose what they think sounded good from each sound, and then just use that.
We're gonna.
Which is, I think, is a creative thing to do, but also it's creative when they don't do it the way they did on Cold Island.
I hope no one that watches this video is upset when if like at the realization that BBB uses VSTs and sound fonts
Here's
for
the thing:
everything.
if they are upset, then I think, I mean, it's fair, but also, what do you expect if you really think about
Yeah.
it?
Spoiler
They're like
alert, everyone.
they're a mobile gaming company. That's what they do. They make games for your phone.
Spoiler
They're not
alert,
gonna have
everybody. BBB doesn't use real instruments.
uses
Wow.
really nowadays.
Anyway, speaking of
The only
not
people who
using
use
real instruments, let's talk about Octopus.
All right, now moving on to Tweedle.
No, we gotta talk about Octopus.
Okay, here's
What
the thing
is
about
there?
Octopus.
You gotta talk about how he
nothing.
goes shoop shoo it do.
You'd never do that ever again. It's not awful, but it's just not needed at all, and it's an obvious downgrade from Plant Island because Plant
No.
Island. Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's not Octopus at all because what if they're like, bro, what if we made Octopus an unpitched vocal that does literally jack to the song?
You know what they did with Octopus? Like, because of what they did with Octopus, half the time when I'm not when I'm just like half thinking about it, my brain goes, "Oh yeah, Shrub's on the island because he might as well be with Octopus."
Yeah, I didn't even notice he was unpitched until you said that.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything. Literally nothing. Octopus sucks.
Hey, Octopus on Cold Island sucks.
Octopus on Cold Island sucks.
Okay,
Thank
this video is called something Cold Island. I think we know we're talking about Cold Island.
Yeah, but I
Speaking
don't
of
want to be
Cold
throwing around.
Island, let's talk about another monster on Cold Island. Don't you think that's a good idea? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
speaking of who else is on Cold Island?
Who?
It's crazy enough. I'm pretty sure Yule is on Cold Island.
No way.
I don't think so.
That moment when Octopus isn't pitched, but Yule is.
Yeah, because Yule is it's like a good idea, but limited by its fact that it has to be a really certain thing.
Yeah, Yule is a cool concept, but it's also kind of nothing.
Yeah.
You is always nothing.
Yeah, it's a pretty large downgrade from Punkleton, but it's not bad. It's just unimpressive.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like the sleigh bell more than I like the ho 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 ho. Cause you
What
can't
about
have a
oh
cold
oh oh
sun.
no?
I want Yule to say no to me and then just leave the island.
He says ho 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 no, and then he turns into a Gligar.
All right, no, okay, Yule. Uh, I don't know.
One thing I can say about Yule is that Yule duets really well with Grumpire, but that's not saying jack at all.
Another thing with this isn't that related to Cold Island. It was a matter of time before we got through these videos before I mentioned the thing that I mention a lot. Uh, the 2015 Christmas card contest had this really cool remix in it, and the main monster in it was Yule of all people, and it's surprising, but it makes sense because it's Christmas, and it works really well. So Yule has a lot of potential, even just using his bass sound and like putting different sounds with it. It has a lot of potential, so I think it's a pretty good monster on the island. There's just like better monsters. Like it doesn't have much competition. I mean, no,
Sure.
it has a lot of competition, which is it's not really Yule's fault, and this is Yule's best island because that's the case with every seasonal. Their
Yeah.
main island is that one.
Smoochel. I'm.
You almost you honestly you got me there until you said joking, and then I realized oh wait he is joking because Smooch was not on the island.
I know. All right, hold on. Next monster.
Wait a minute,
You know,
Ryan, I thought you were deleting the spaces too. I thought we only had like 7 left.
nah. We also gotta do Tweedle.
Okay, never mind.
That was a great Tweedle on Cold Island impression.
Yeah, bro.
I'm not as
On
in
Cold
depth
Island is
when it comes to
probably
music. I
okay.
want you to explain to me the issue with Tweedle because I can't see it at the moment.
'Cause it sucks.
All right, but is there like a reason why?
Because it's annoying and it's not fun to listen to at all.
So it's the timbre itself that's bad.
Yes.
All right, I can understand that.
It's more so an opinion. He just doesn't like it, which is fair.
Also,
Well, I don't
Tweedle.
really care about Tweedle. I just was curious to the reasons why it was so disliked.
Tweedle played in the wrong verse, that's why. Because here's the thing you listen to every Cold Island remix ever that's not just Cold Island, but again, and then they have Tweedle playing in the Mammoth Deej verse, and you're like, bro, why does that work so well? Because Tweedle wasn't meant to play in the stupid other verse that has whatever else in it in the beginning because it sounds dumb. But then you realize, oh, if Tweedle played in the Mammoth Sponge Deej verse, you're like, dude, that sounds OP, and he should have played there, but he doesn't play there.
Here's the thing that you're forgetting. In the 2012 Cold Island official remix, there was a part where it was just Tweedle who said la 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 la, and then Deej and Octopus came in on their own, and Tweedle went away, and it was just shoop shooeb shooeda doo, shoop shoop shooeb shooeda doo, and then Dandidoo came in replacing Octopus, but Deej stayed in, and then all 3 of them played together, and it was exactly how I described it. Whether it worked or not, that's up to you to
Wait,
decide.
Dandy do, bro,
Dandidoo and Tweedle playing at the same
and
time? Yeah, I wanted to cry.
Octopus.
Dandidoo, Octopus, and Tweedle with Deej, all playing at once.
Yeah, that
It was
sounds like the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
yeah, but also you've heard it. It sounds pretty good.
Yo,
I
speaking
forgot.
honestly, in that list there was Octopus, which we talked, Dandy which we talked, and then Tweedle, which we just talked about. So now we gotta talk about the fourth one you just said, which is Deej.
Dude, shoutouts to Deej carrying so hard.
I think Deej was necessary because the song had no percussion.
Well, it was the one that was missing the percussion element.
That's true, but then they gave us like three percussion monsters, but
Yeah, but
they're not
one of
actually
them was
percussion monsters.
Kongle and the other one was Pango.
Yeah, exactly. We had a lot of percussion. Okay, here's the thing. You say that you said Congo and Pango, but then Fire Oasis. Okay, they had enough percussion, but they just are not good at using it for this island. So instead, we had to get Deej, which is fair enough. And Deej is pretty good on this island, but also honestly feels like kind of a waste for a quad element. Like it's a really memorable quad. You can't take away Deej's quadness, but also I just think electronic percussion is just basic electronic percussion is not the most like it's not the sound you think of when you think of a quad.
Mm,
Yeah, it's when I think of a celestial.
Yeah,
dude, you're so right.
Deej is great and he carries, but also if other monsters didn't just uncarry everything they had, then he probably wouldn't be needed, and they probably could have done something a lot cooler with him.
Like they did on other islands that have these, like Gold and Continent,
Go.
but we'll talk about those later.
Yeah, with Deej, it's lost potential, but not Deej lost potential. Deej does perfectly for what he is, but it's lost potential because everyone else did awfully. So
No,
he had to come in and do his quad
I
stuff
think
and fix the song.
I think the best Deej is actually all right. You say Deej is or an underutilized four element, but I think the perfect thing about Deej is that he's undefined. He can be anything because he's a DJ. He is exactly what the island needs at a given time.
It's true.
It's just that
But
an island
what,
usually
what,
needs percussion.
what I'm trying to say is that I wish the island needed a little bit less out of
Yeah,
Deej so he could have had more fun.
exact. Actually, that's fair. If Deej shouldn't have had to have been the
If
percussion on this
Kongo,
island.
Thumpies, okay, if Kongo, Thumpies, and Pango didn't all do jack, then Deej could have been more like Continent, where it's percussion, but it's got little mixed in, and it's fun.
All right, we're wow. The list is getting shorter. Who should we talk
Yeah.
about next?
Uh, we already talked about most of the. Let's get the naturals out of the way. So,
Yeah, I was thinking the same. Let's talk about Potbelly.
I'll,
Probably. Yeah.
Potbelly playing Plant Island, but in a different key.
here's the
Wow.
thing: with Potbelly on Plant Island, Cold Island, that wasn't even meant to be a joke. That was just me getting confused. But with Potbelly on Cold Island, it's kind of disappointing because this is something that I noticed on my own, but I haven't seen people noticing. Potbelly had an entire thing going on Plant Island where it's just like, it's not just one head sings one note, one head sings another note. No, it's like dynamic in their timing. So like sometimes they're one head singing, the other head's not singing. Sometimes the other head singing, the other one's not singing. Sometimes they're singing together. Sometimes they slightly overlap but not fully. And it's really cool and dynamic, especially on Plant Island. And then on Cold Island, they lost that kind of, so they could just say bow, 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 and they say the same thing.
Yeah.
And like, there's very, very slight timing difference, but it's not really as dynamic. So that's kind of something that's lost with it.
The worst thing a monster could do is lose its personality on an island, especially a vocal.
Yeah, it didn't fully lose its personality because Potbelly's still Potbelly, but
Yeah.
it lost part of it.
At least it didn't completely change what it said. Like, imagine if it went "Heyo."
You say it as if it's a bad thing.
No, I'm not saying it. It's not a bad thing. I just like poking fun at it.
Hail, hail.
Hail,
Oh god, that happened twice. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. But speaking of happening twice, let's talk about the last double element, and by double element I mean triple
Triple
element of Bogart.
Bogart.
Yeah.
It's hard to rank Bogart compared to Plant Island because Plant Island Bogart is like masterpiece.
Okay, here's the thing with let's just talk about just on its own. In
Isolated.
Cold Island, he's kind of really stupid and useless in every single verse, except the one verse where he's the exact opposite and he's top tier. Cause he's like, bro, what if I'm just gonna be weird accenting? It's like just and it works well, but also it's still kind of nothing. And then especially in the next verse where all it does is and again, it's nice accenting, but it's not really Bogart's shtick. But then he really carries as like the main. That's like the main background thing. Like you
Yeah.
have Furcorn going off, but then Bogart's filling that air and doing it well.
Man, I never noticed before how top tier the original like Furcorn verse was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Here's the thing that you never
Cold
know.
Island is an island of almost missed opportunities, but for that one moment, it's like absolute bliss.
Literally, here's the thing: if you want to listen to Cold Island, first of all, don't want to do that. But if you want to, anyways, because you're a masochist, uh, go find an old video from like 2012 or something about old Cold. No, find any video before 2016. So before the Dipsters, make sure it's not by Poke, so it doesn't fade in, because that's what he used to do back then, but he doesn't anymore, so it's okay. And then afterward, skip to the Furcorn verse and listen to the song from then and onwards, and that's all really good and worth listening to.
Yeah,
Anything before that, yeah,
it's
nah.
more experimental and doesn't succeed.
one thing that I like that Bogart does, I know how we kind of like shat on it, how like, oh, it only does accents, but I feel like Bogart in that verse kind of like really settles in because like the entire point of Cold Island is, oh, it's supposed to sound Merry Little Christmas, Holly Joy, Joy, and then it's like, bro, what if we did that verse, but it was like funny bass drop, and it doesn't work because the song sucks. But then like I like how it, like they tried to make it change from the happy mood because Bogart kind of made the happy mood, and then on damn Deej Sponge verse, it's like, bro, what if we do nothing? Bogart kind of did its job, but then lost its job, but then got its job back again.
Yeah.
It's
See, I'm not saying it's bad. It's really good, and it's the best they could do on Cold Island. But also, it would have been nice if one of the 20 monsters that literally do the same monster over and over again, if they, took the hurdle off Bogart's back and did some of the accenting so that it's not literally nothing.
Yeah,
it's
like, you know,
definitely a downgrade from Plant Island, but it's like the
absolutely.
A plus student going to the B student or the
Yeah,
B minus student, I guess. So it's like it's a downgrade, but at the same time, that's still like a very pleasant monster,
Yeah.
which is just a testament to Bogart's quality and just the really good
And
job they do with
really, he did a
composing.
good job of just not doing any special monsters besides you, because he's not special.
All right, should we do these in chronological order now?
Uh,
I
I
feel
I'm
like
gonna.
it makes the
I think
most
so.
sense. All right,
Yeah,
let's
I think so.
start
So
with
that means
Grumpire.
Grum.
I
Uh,
don't care about Grumpire.
Grumpire sucks.
My issue with Grumpire
yeah,
is the fact that he had to fall. Wait, Grumpire came out after Gast, right?
no,
Yeah,
okay, it's even better. First, Gas came out, and then they skipped Cold Island, and then added Rebro, and then Grumpire came out.
That is two very, very steep hills to follow up.
yeah, and they didn't follow up because it was Grumpire, and it
They
was
dropped the ball real hard on Grumpire.
shaka shaka. Wow, real cool.
Now, I don't got
You know,
any fault with the voice itself because it actually, when you listen to the guy who voiced him talk normally, it's actually kind of impressive how he's able to change his timbre to match Grumpire's.
I think
The
Grumpire's
issue
voice
is all of that effort is wasted on Grumpire.
I think it sounds good, but also see, I get what they were trying to do with that because they were trying to make him be, oh, bah humbug. I don't care about Christmas. Boom shaka wah shaka. Who cares? That's the entire point of Grumpire as a monster on Cold Island, and it's a really good idea and it's appreciated. But also, I feel like they could have done a little more with it.
Yeah.
It's
As an
like
ethereal, it
really
literally is awful. But
because yeah, as an ethereal, like compared to every other ethereal,
they could have
like
done way more with it.
like good humbug. Those three specifically, Grumpire just can't compare.
Yeah. It's
For what he does, his sound isn't awful, but like it doesn't really help anything, and that's kind of the See, the problem with Cold Island is everyone except like Bogart and Deej are just all grumpire. They're like, oh yeah, I want to do my own thing, and then they end up all just copying each other, and then no one gets anything done, and then Bogart and Deej have to come in and stitch everything together.
Unfortunately for Grumpire, it doesn't apply to Cold Island itself. But at least I can say Grumpire is not a bad monster because it does pick up its pace on Ethereal Island.
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
Ethereal Island is a good island and Cold Island is not.
Alright, so Wubbox came out next, right?
Yes, and
Alright,
Yeah.
I think it's just written in order.
I don't
Wubbox,
like
alright.
Wubbox for some reason.
I kind of foreshadowed it in the Plant Island video, but from this point onward, Wubbox is pretty much always terrible because it's literally the same thing on every island. And that's mindless, not rhythmic at all, just
Noise.
brainless noise.
Wubbox, I appreciate him on this island, not because his sound. I'm fine with never hearing that one again, but I like his animation because as a kid, when I was young, I say as a kid, I mean I guess as a kid because I was like 12 at the time. As a kid, I always imagined it like the way he put his arms up to be him climbing a mountain because he was a yodeler and it was funny.
Yeah, and then he does the funny go.
Oh yeah, this is
Yeah,
the island where he says go. Never mind. S plus monster.
The
Oh.
go Wubbox.
yeah. Wubbox is okay. Here's the thing, Wubbox gets pretty a lot worse than this, so it's somewhat forgivable. But like, it's like, hey, you may not be Hitler. That's what it's like. It's like, hey, at least you're not Hitler. That's what Wubbox is on this island.
One thing I don't understand is why on God's name did they decide to put Wubbox in the Tweedleverse?
Because you see, no, here's
That
the issue with Wubbox. Wubbox's placement in this island is almost and probably worse than rare Wubbox's.
you're right.
And
Because imagine if the Grumpire verse had like dubstep noises that weren't the worst thing ever, and it was like, bro, actual beat drop Skrillex style, and you're like, dude, this almost works.
dude, that literally would have been amazing.
Okay, to be fair though, I'm happier getting just bare bones Wubbox so it's out of the way than just seeing it climb so close to that edge and then just tumble down.
Dude,
Yeah,
alright, you
because
know what I'm realizing?
what?
I think this is the only island where I prefer rare Wubbox over Wubbox.
What about Ethereal Island?
Gold.
Shut your face. I don't.
Wait, what about Epic Wubbox?
Shut your
No,
face.
I think I make a good point about Wubbox on Ethereal Island because see he's pretty cool on Ethereal Island in my opinion.
Oh
But
yeah.
really gets good is Rare Wubbox when he goes error,
Error, overflow, filing,
filing,
Boo, boo, boo,
You guys
That's
completely lost
honestly,
me.
I know we're talking about Cold Island right now, but I'm just gonna say this is now the Ethereal Island video, and all the other monsters are in like they're all of them are tied in worst place, but Rare Roblox is in first place.
Alright, but what about Rare Wubbox on Cold Island?
you mean Mammoth? You mean Congo? You mean Pango? You mean Stumpies? You mean all of them?
Don't forget Quibble and
Oh, and Quibble. And
Jeez.
God, Rare Box makes me want to puke.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
But
say it.
at least he's more intelligible than regular Wubbox.
Yeah, at least he does something.
At least his animation isn't bad, except
Nah,
it is.
you know
Except
who
that it-
else does something on Cold Island?
Who?
Your favorite monsters, Ryan, the Dipsters!
The Dipsters are fucking ass again.
Shocker.
Don't you, but Ryan? Don't you like dip 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 dip?
I completely forgot about that track.
Bum 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 that do that do that do that.
Who? What kind of composition is that? That literally is nothing. That's just slamming notes on the keyboard.
No, you know what that is? That's Firehaven Dipsters before Firehaven Dipsters. Dip 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 dip. Dip,
Uh,
dip, dip. And then afterwards, and then it only gets better with
Dip dip
dip,
dip
and then
dip.
Ray plays twice to do dip 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 dip
yeah. Dip,
dip.
dip, dip, dip,
Dip
dip.
dip dip.
It sounds kind of good on its own, but then you realize it has to go with like 12 other monsters on the island.
And you know what else you have to realize, Ryan? Some of the because of composer that you pointed out is the fact that Ray's doing in the second note is a really bad idea because it sounds way too high and out of place, and it would be a lot better if just like dip 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 dip.
Yeah. I forgot that that one part of the Dipsters plays in both the Grumpire and the Furcorn verse.
Yeah, dude.
They're just like, bro, what if we make it show up again and not work?
I mean, to be fair, it didn't work at all in any of them.
You're right.
You know, honestly, I like the Dipsters on this island for one reason, and it's because their sound fits the entire hiking motif. So while watching the Dipsters OTP,
Alright. I will admit that Dipsters have at least something going for them over the Plant Island ones.
and
And
because
that's,
they didn't play the entire song this time.
yeah, they give us a break every once in a while.
Yeah, but you know who doesn't give us the break?
Uh,
Weirdos. So you know we've gone. It was hard to do, but we said this in advance before we started the video. We did not mention the weirdos. What we mentioned something about how other monsters that kind of suck or are kind of good, but we never directly mentioned them before now
there's a
because
lot to
there's a lot to
unpack.
say. So you
There's
know, first off, let's start with probably the best monster on Cold Island. Let's talk about Talker.
Talker makes me so happy, but it also is the calm before the damn storm.
I'm gonna let Ryan. I'm gonna let you
Let's just be
praise
happy.
your man,
Let's
Tucker.
be happy. Let's be happy. Let's all smile. It's okay. This is a happy place. Let's talk about Talker. You know, let's pretend nothing else exists. Talker's the last. Come on, let's go.
Talker somehow with everything that plays in the Grumpire verse and Talker playing in the Grumpire verse works really well. He doesn't overshadow anything, and he's like, bro, what if I am the melody and the melody is OP noises? Because the best part is like, bro, okay, so we're out here with motherfucking everything else playing the same bum but rhythm, but what if Talker doesn't do that because he has like 5 million pauses, which makes him a wordo that doesn't cover up anything, because he can play in a verse that has everything in it, not cover anything up, because BBB made the smart decision to make the wordos not sing throughout the entire verse, so he's not just overpowering King of the Hill noises. And he's like, bro, what if we work? And then the Furcorn verse comes in where it's the complete opposite, and it's like, bro, what if we make him not good?
Really?
He literally, Talker in the Grumpire verse
Nobody.
is like my favorite thing ever in the entire island. And then whenever he plays in the Furcorn verse, all he does is just, bro, what if I was Furcorn, but I was a hell of a lot worse? But it kind of also works because at least it's
Alright.
not the other one.
No,
To
okay.
be honest, to be honest, see, that's something that I want to say too. I've got like okay with Tucker, I agree. His entire first track is amazing, one of the best things in the game. But with his second track, I don't think it's that bad. But also, I think the main thing they did is they had a lot of potential and they butchered it because it goes, "Nobody likes me, everyone's afraid of me." And I just the second me, in my opinion, sounds really bad. And I've always in my head imagined it. Nobody likes me. Everyone's afraid of me. And I think that would work so much better. But they
The
don't. So
issue, the second me doesn't really work well is because he puts a really awkward pitch bend on it. It's not
Yeah.
me, it's me.
Me.
Alright, I
imagine if
gotta. You know what? I gotta agree with you guys, but I also gotta put a little bit more in depth on my personal reason for liking Talker. And be thankful because this is like one of the few times where I'm ever gonna compliment the one that weirdo in their entire life. The amount of passion in Talker's first track is inspiring. Like he freaking Dave Couric, he got into it.
Dude, he slaps
I
so
love the way he says, "Is what I live
is
for."
what I live for.
It's not over singing. It's just the perfect amount of singing.
Okay, can I say one complaint about the first track though?
What?
What?
Understand how it is, but in my head, I always heard it slightly wrong, and it's so much better in my version because it goes, "This is what I live for. This is wondrous chill." I always heard it as this wondrous chill, and
Oh,
it made the pause feel more rewarding in a way. If you see what I mean, and I think
Yeah.
like it makes the lyrics make more sense. And I've always loved to imagine that it was that. It's the same thing. Talker, if it just had that one note change and that him saying this a second time, I think I would probably like love him so much more. And he'd easily be without a doubt question the best monster on the sound, and he probably is anyways. But that those two things just give me the slight sliver of doubt.
Now,
there are two complaints that I have to say about Talker, and it's that the very first this sucks because it's like not pitched at all. This, and then the is it cold outside sucks.
To be
it's
fair,
all
it's
right.
pretty.
It's
Yeah,
I
pretty good.
like Talker. I like his first verse, but I respect the other two more than I like them because I respect the unorthodox melody they chose with it, and
Yeah.
I just like the way he enunciates. Is it cold outside?
Outside,
Is
The
it
cold
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 outside.
outside.
outside?
See, for me, I think if he just had only those first two tracks and he was the only monster on the island and he did those two changes like that, Cold Island would probably be a perfect island
Now
for
you
like
see,
for based on what we options we have.
I just
But the
realizing
Cold Outside verse is completely unnecessary.
I am just realizing this now.
Uh,
Talker, the best thing about Talker, even in the verses where it's not great, it is insanely fun to sing along to.
yeah, and then you realize that you're singing "Nobody Likes Me, Everyone Is Afraid of Me" out loud, and you're like, hold on a second.
I don't care what the lyrics are. I just like it when the pitch is fun to follow. Now,
Exactly.
guys, are we strong enough?
I,
Alright, they say, now, Cold Island, it's a really nice place. It's got a bunch of chipper tunes, it's got a bunch of interesting complexities to it. But they say, if you listen, if it's late at night, 3 a.m. challenge, you go to Cold Island, and if you spend 100 relics on the a thing, and you wait the requisite time and then hatch it, something terrifying happens. You'll hear faintly in the distance. Look at the
look at the
stars in the
stars in
big
the
black
big
ink.
black ink.
Okay, can I say my opinion on Magpie?
Yes,
You
please
know,
do.
see, I would do an interpretive dance, but I'm not in a position. So instead, I'll make an interpretive song to describe Magpie. Magpie song.
So,
Perfect.
say I if you think Magpie is the worst monster in the entire game.
I. Wow.
Yeah. All right. Now elaborate.
Okay, so first of all, uh, Magpie song. No, here's the thing with Magpie. Uh, in my opinion, I actually like the Nam. I hit my
He
drum.
likes the numb. He likes the numb.
I like it. I like the first track.
The first track is okay. It doesn't do anything, but it's not the worst thing ever.
Remember how we said Talker was the calm before the storm? Buying Magpie and hearing her first track is the calm before the storm.
Yeah. And even then, you hear Magpie, and it's just terrifying because literally, like, hearing look at the stars in the big black ink literally triggers my PTSD.
I know.
It's the most awful.
No, like I just yeah, that's fair, and it's got a lot of. I just think that the first track, like you said, it's okay. But I think it's got more going to it than people give credit for, because like it's unorthodox. Like Talker's
A lot of
second
Cave
track
Island.
and stuff like
Or
that.
Cave
It's really
Cold.
unorthodox.
Fuck Sea Islands.
It's really unorthodox, but I think it's good anyways. And I don't know. I like it's a good idea to just have it be different kind of scene. Semi-rapping as people like to call it.
Alright. We've waited too long. We
Then
have to open up the can of beans. Magpie's second track.
Ugh, ugh,
the word.
I love it when the monster's dual harmony literally clashes with itself.
I love when the wordos that are supposed to be literally the duet monsters don't duet with each other at all.
Magpie clashes with a song, she clashes with Talker, and like I said, she clashes with herself.
Not to mention, you can
Mag-
tell that there was no passion in her voice at all.
Not to mention the fact that they did all of this intentionally.
Nobody likes
It's
me.
me, everyone's afraid of me. It's because I suck.
The best part about Magpie is the fact that they don't like people discuss, hey, what's up with Magpie, and they don't even acknowledge the fact that it's awful. So because of that, they just like it makes me even more scared because now I just think about the fact that
They
in a,
can do it again.
in a few months it's coming to Water Island, and
Uh,
it's like Jaws. I can hear the Jaws theme already playing.
Magpie? No, Magpie's. This is gonna be a really whack reference. Magpie's effect on Cold Island is the effect fucking E.T. had on the game industry. It's so bad it makes you scared for anything related to it again.
Oh my god. The ET Atari game is the best thing ever. I don't know what you're talking about.
I
And
just,
Magpie.
I just compared Magpie to fucking E.T.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
because they're both
I think
extraterrestrial.
E.T. would probably sound pretty good on Cold
Yeah,
Island. To be honest.
honestly,
Yeah.
I would rather play E.T. than listen to Magpie say, "Is it cold outside?"
Oh god, we didn't even talk about Is It Cold
No, we
Outside.
didn't.
Awfuler.
Sounds like it's like it sounds like okay. We all know okay. It's hard to talk so bad about these, but it's also not hard. But something that we have to keep in mind is the fact that these are real existing people that these monsters are based off.
Oh,
But
I
that
know.
just makes this track even worse because here's the thing. It's like, is it cold outside? And this is like a pure Canadian woman. She lives in Canada. She's married to Dave Kerr. She has been like for the past around 10 years, if I believe, if I remember correctly.
Didn't she voice Pom
Yet
Pom?
for some, yeah, she did. Well, it doesn't matter. The point is, she like she's a nice lady. She's really cool and all. But also, why is she trying to do a Brooklyn accent on Magpie? The entire
I
point of
got.
the is that the point of the weirdos is that they're literally people thinking Talker is supposed to be Dave Kerr. So why is Magpie supposed to be Maggie? And then it's just broke. I have a Brooklyn accent now.
I got no ill pills
Like
or ill.
imagine if you made a weirdo for yourself, and then you like, is it cold outside, bloody? And you're like, I'm not even.
I'm.
I'm not even from that continent.
Oh god, dude, we haven't even. We talked about like a lot about Magpie, but I don't even think we've really talked about what structurally doesn't work with it. We've just talked about all of the cosmetic things that don't work with it.
Everything about it doesn't work. Okay, like we said, the first track is fine. Everything's fine with that. Second track is just we talked about why it structurally doesn't work because it clashes with itself and with everything else around it. It's like a wrecking ball just coming in looking for whatever it can destroy, but also it's a magnet wrecking ball that's magnetified to itself.
Here's the thing. I love how at the beginning of this talk we were talking about how the fur corn verse at the beginning is like the best part of the song, and then we reach nowadays where it's like
It's
a
the
damn
worst.
meteor. It's like, oh my god, there's catastrophe everywhere. I want to cry.
Alright, but here's the thing. Here's
Good.
another thing about
Okay,
Magpie
I'm
we didn't
finally
talk
being
about.
put out of my misery because you're hearing the "Is it cold outside" verse, and then afterwards they go
It
right back into it.
loops. I was gonna say that we never talked about how it loops now.
That was the worst decision they could have ever made. I don't know what was going through their head that made them think we should have that verse play again and ruin the outro to the song so that we can have an excuse to play the "Is it cold outside" verse again.
BB,
Yeah,
I
that
love
was
you,
just
but
dirt in the wound.
BB, I love you. You gave me one of my favorite games of all time. You inspired me to do things I never thought I'd be able to do. But who the fuck's decision was it to extend Cold Island?
God, fuck.
I want
Okay.
their head.
I love. Uh. Okay.
I don't. That's
No,
rude.
I don't. Uh, I think it's cool how
That was very uncanadian of me.
Magpie comes out and it's the worst thing ever, and like the island is just like on deathbed. It's like, please let me die. I'm going to cry and cry, and then the island just puts itself out of his misery with the damn looping of nobody likes me, because it doesn't even end satisfyingly now. The whole song just sucks.
Oh my god. I don't
See,
even.
like I said, if you want to listen to Cold Island, first of all, don't, and then go to the old versions before anyone else existed.
Magpie is a special case because it's one of the only instances where a single monster took down an entire island. There are monsters that they affect an island badly, but there are still other redeeming qualities on the island, like Cave Island. It's got a really bad verse, but then it's also got by Sonorous. Cold Island
Like,
doesn't get that because Magpie plays in the only verses that used to be good. They used to be amazing.
even with Plant Island, it's like Plant Island was a tag team between Dipsters, Rare Box, and the Weirdos. This was just literally everything came together. Rare Box and Webbox were irrelevant enough that you don't notice them.
Dipsters were
Talker
passable.
and Dipsters were like not in the way anymore. What Talker came out and he was like a knight in shining armor, proving that the old dog can learn new tricks. And then the Mags became and saying, "Nah, bro, if that dog is old, we gotta put it down."
And again in Plant Island, it's taken a lot of blows, it's taken a lot of hits, but that last verse is still good.
And now we
Where's the
don't
good
have a
verse in
last
Cold
verse.
Island? Show me the good verse in Cold Island.
The
The
talker
only
one.
verse
Oh
that
right.
went unaffected, the only verse that went unaffected by the Weirdos is the intro verse with Xanadu.
Oh yeah,
uh,
and it's not good composition.
How do you feel about that? Danzadu on this island is the equivalent of Sugarbush on Plant Island.
not listen. All right, guys. We we gotta judge Cold Island, but we gotta listen. You gotta judge it to the way us three only hear Cold Island. We listen up until the end of the first talker track, and then we switch islands to go collect coins or something.
No, that's not even the case. Because here's the thing: I don't listen to Cold Island because then I go to my Mirror Cold Island and it's even worse.
Yeah, Ryan, you got tell everyone what you did on your Mirror Cold Island. I want you to say it. I want you to say it, Ryan.
Mine,
It was the greatest decision ever by my part because this was anniversary. The Weirdos were on sale because they do that. They were half off. I had 350 relics, and I'm like, oh, newest Weirdo ain't gonna come out for a long time. So what I did was I bought 7 magpies on my Mirror Cold, and so now every time I go to my Mirror Cold, it's just it's Bogart and then like Congo. They play together in the beginning. It's like, okay, this is some niceness, and then you just hear 7. Look at the stars in the big black ink killing my ears. Like, why did I make this decision?
No, the best. No, Ryan, that was the smartest investment ever. All right, Magpie. Literally, the only good thing about Magpie, its Christmas costume is hilarious.
Oh my god, you're
I want to end this on a high note, so I'm talking about Magpie's Christmas costume.
listen, here's the thing. I don't like you having fun. So first of all, I'm gonna say my Mirror Cold Island is better because I have the OG worst monster for me, and I have
Toe Jammer.
I've got 75 I've got 75 and counting toe jammers placed on my cold island, on my mirror cold island, as well as 10 of each tipster.
Oh my god.
And like it's like the song is fine at first. It's like it's really decomposed because I made sure it's only enough so I could read any monster available when it comes to just naturals, like if I need it for zapping. So
Right.
like I have Layer Deej and then a bunch of other random stuff like some doubles and triples and all that. And then afterwards, it's just so the song starts. It's really bare bones, and then 75 toe jammers all at once sing. Do.
Do.
With dipsters.
Yeah. No. It's just do, and do.
All right, guys.
What?
What?
What's your opinion on Cold Island as a whole?
As a whole, okay, this is a very ambiguous question. Because are you talking about okay Cold Island, good Cold Island, or awful Cold Island?
No, we have.
Current
It's
Cold Island
unfair
that
to.
is
We have
okay.
to do it dispassionately. We have to talk about the current iteration.
It is the worst island
I think it's the
in.
worst island in the game, but because of the various factors that have been discussed, I'm gonna definitely say that Cold Island is not worth listening to and not really worth visiting. It doesn't have much going for it anymore. Like it's like a carcass of an animal in the desert that's been there for like 3 months. There's only bones left, and unless you're a tiny rat who could munch on those bones, there's nothing worth coming back to.
That's a damn good analogy.
A tear came to my eye that was so powerful.
I didn't mention this before, but to prove my friendship with Seth, I did the equivalent of sending him gorilla poop in the mail, and I won a giveaway, and the prize was enhanced. So I went and I dug up Seth's friend code and I gave it to them, and like I told them to give him a magpie, so they did.
My birthday present was a fucking magpie.
Yeah, the stream was on his birthday too, and he didn't know until it came in game.
Oh my god, BB, thank you for hold. I love the fact that you constantly hold streams on my birthday. I just hate the fact that my birthday present was a magpie, and my other birthday present was you saying happy birthday while playing Fortnite.
What's your great birthday presents?
It's the best, but it's also the worst timing ever.
Nah, bro. It's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh my
We
god.
gotta do what we did last time. All of us have to rank Cold Island out of 10.
It's
Two.
hard.
No, three. No,
I'm
two.
gonna give it 3. I'm gonna give it 3 because it's a giant piece of shit, but there's still the first Talkerverse.
Yeah, the first talker verse, and then okay, here's the thing. I remember I went onto my MSM game like a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I'm gonna listen to Cold Island now that I have like Magpie muted and all that stuff, so that I can see if it was actually that good. And Talker was good, Talker was fine. And then I was like, oh wait, why does this still sound bad? Because it's Dipster, Grumpire, Yule, and everything else still played in there. I'm like, oh yeah, it's still just noise.
Yeah, and then even though Magpie is muted, it still does the looping thing.
Nah, listen. All
Mhm.
right,
No,
the
it doesn't.
island
It
is
doesn't do the looping thing.
the island is 3 out of 10, but literally all 3 of those points are from the Weirdoverse or the Talkerverse. The entire island without that Talkerverse is literally 0 out of 10.
Okay,
Yeah.
honestly, for me, I was gonna say 3 at first, but something I had to remember. I gave Plant Island a 4 out of 10, so
Oh shoot!
I have to give Cold a 2 because it's worse than Plant in every way. And listen, you know what happens to me when I play Cold Island? Whenever I
What?
go in my game and I go to Cold Island and like it's not even a thing I do for a joke. It's just like a mental thing that I just do like without command. It's just part of my routine. I go in there, I treat it like a bomb zone, and I get out of there as fast as I can before anything start playing.
That's actually what I do with my mirror Cold Island too.
Like, I go, I'm like, oh god, tapping all the coins I can, and then like, oh god, he's on the plane. Then I leave the verse.
Nah, guys. But the island's only gonna get better when they add epic Wobox to
All right, I'm going to bed.
it. Nah, guys, the island's only gonna get better when they add the mythic